It has been about 3 months since I picked up the Nintendo Switch 2 at the midnight release, and today I'll be sharing my experience with the console. This won't be typical to other people's reviews. I'm a cozy gamer. I also have a Steam Deck, a PC, and I stream frequently. So I'm just gonna do a short and quick video about my experience with the console so far and hopefully give some insight into whether you should pick it up for yourself or not. Mostly just going over my experience with it so far. So why did I want this console? Why? Well, I have been waiting to upgrade from my Animal Crossing Switch 1 version since I've gotten it. So I never personally upgraded to the OLED. So I felt like whenever that Switch 2 finally comes out or whatever it's going to be called, then I will finally upgrade. And I felt like it's been very exciting. And it was really exciting to pick this one up and to upgrade. I was also very interested in Mario Kart World and also anticipating more games to be revealed the first 3 months of having the console. And some were, but I don't know. We'll get into that later. I also definitely did have a fear of missing out if I didn't get the console, which might sound silly, but it's a real thing for sure. And I was afraid that it might be hard to get it later on if I don't get it right away. And so I was like totally full force into getting it on launch day. So I got the Mario Kart World bundle with my Switch 2, meaning that I got a digital copy of Mario Kart World to go with my console. And starting out, that was the main new game that I played. I played it on my own, I played it with my streaming community, but after a while, it did kind of lose its sparkle a bit. It wasn't really getting updates, and I didn't really have a ton of people to play with. Ended up kind of dropping off of that game. I did not get the Donkey Kong Bonanza game, which I would say is the other big Nintendo first party exclusive release. I just wasn't really interested in that one. I waited for reviews, and I didn't see a ton of hype continued around it. So for myself, I didn't end up getting it. If you don't know and you're new to my channel, I mostly play very, very cozy games. I heard the Donkey Kong game is great, but I just decided not to check it out. So we're going to go into a pros and cons list now. The top 2 things I appreciate about this new console is obviously, number 1, the improved quality. I think that is very easy to see. You can tell for sure with this console. I started a brand new Animal Crossing island. I visited Treasure Island. The game loads so much faster from screen to screen, and it makes playing the game even more enjoyable. The second thing I love is how easy it is to remove the Joy-Cons. It's literally snap on and off. I think that's a huge improvement, and I know that the Joy-Cons come off on the other console, but I just love the Nintendo Switch for the ability to remove them, and I can lay in bed with it, well, the screen here and the Joy-Cons like in my hands, and I can just be comfortable, or I can have it laying on my stomach and have the Joy-Cons like under the covers. And I love that about this console, that I can be really comfortable while I play it. So those are my top 2 things that I like about this console. Also, a big pro about this is that the console really got me back into Animal Crossing again. And I love that because it's one of the games that I'm anticipating to have a new Animal Crossing soon. So with that in mind, I really wanted to start a brand new island, and I had never started a brand new island before. I've always had my original 2020 Animal Crossing island that I've never finished. So I wanted to start from scratch, and that's what I did. I put my other island on my older Switch, and now I have a brand new Switch 2 island. So that's definitely one of the games I've played the most on this new console. I've played some other games as well, but honestly, as I was looking through it for this video, I haven't played a ton of new games. I don't play my console docked to my TV, but I do play my Switch 2 docked to my PC setup here. And I've played Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar, Mario Kart World, Just Dance, Locomoto, which is an indie game, and Animal Crossing without any performance issues. These tend to be more low-key games though. I'm not playing very intensive games, so keep that in mind. I've heard that there are still a lot of performance issues that come with the Switch 2 that haven't really been super improved from the first console. So that's disappointing to hear that that can still be an issue. It also seems like it's still very hard to port games to the Nintendo Switch 2 for indie devs, which makes me very sad. I guess I'm going into the cons by accident. Let's get back to the pros. Yeah, the last two pros I have is that it is much lighter than my Steam Deck. So I do appreciate that, especially for on the go. I took it on a plane to LA and I felt like it was just so much easier to travel with than my Steam Deck, which my Steam Deck is just a lot heavier. And the last pro that I thought of is that I can still use my other Joy-Cons from my old console to play with friends on this console. I just can't connect it to the side of the console. So I appreciate that they did that because I would have had to buy a bunch of Joy-Cons just to play this every once in a while with friends in local co-op. So I'm glad that they made that possible. Now the camera, I did not buy the camera. But I did think it was cool that Just Dance uses the camera if you have one, which I don't. So I just use the Joy-Cons because that works perfectly fine as well. Now getting into the cons, I guess I said a couple earlier incidentally. My brain was just flowing out. First con is that there have been no Mario Kart World updates or DLC or anything yet, which I was really expecting to have a little bit more of that early on or in this most recent Nintendo Direct. So that's been surprising for me. And we got Donkey Kong DLC, but not Mario Kart World. So that made me a little disappointed. Another con is the price of the console. I was prepared to pay this price, but the games are getting much pricier, especially for first-party Nintendo games. So that's a con that I want to throw out there. I'm going to be a bit pickier about what games I'm picking up because they are going up $10 to $20 in price. Now, the other con is that I still have tons of games on Steam, which isn't the con, but I do use my Steam Deck a ton still, and I probably end up preferring that library over the Nintendo Switch 2 because I already have games on there, so I'm going to lean towards it. And I found myself continuing to buy the games on the Steam library just because I get a little nervous that things aren't going to run well on this console, even simple games. So I've been buying games on the Steam Deck when I thought that I would maybe be transferring my library over to the Nintendo Switch 2, but that just hasn't happened. It was just something that surprised me. That's why I waited so long to do this review, because I wanted to see, once like the newness of this wore off, would I be picking it up more than my Steam Deck? And I have to say, I don't. I pick it up for Animal Crossing, Story of Seasons, and mostly I play newer games on my Steam Deck. So although I've listed many more pros than I have cons, the con that weighs the most is that the game library on Switch 2 is just not exclusive enough right now to justify people picking this one up. I know a lot of people in my community are waiting for Animal Crossing to pick this up, and I enjoy that there are these new Switch 2 versions that you can get. I have one Switch 2 version game though, which is Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar, and the games that I am most anticipating aren't set until like 2026 or don't even have a solid release date. Witchbrook is set for holiday, Tomodachi Life is set for 2026, Pokemon Pokopia is set for 2026, and hopefully we eventually get new Animal Crossing game in the future, but we haven't even heard any news on that yet. So this is my, I guess, mini overview of the console so far and my experience with it. Hopefully something in here has been helpful to you about getting the Nintendo Switch 2 or not, and hopefully you're not feeling the FOMO, because there's not too much FOMO to experience, honestly. The new console does have better performance, graphics, and the Joy-Cons are very accessible, easily removable, and they're just a function that I love about this console. But to me, there still aren't enough exclusive cozy titles or first-party titles in general to warrant the purchase for a lot of people so far. If the console is the only console that you play and use, then it might be worth upgrading to this new console. But if your library is bigger elsewhere, then you might as well just hold off until there's an exclusive game that you really, really want to get on the Nintendo Switch 2. But personally, I have enjoyed my purchase and I definitely don't regret it. I'm glad I have it. I would have gotten it eventually, but I was hoping to move my gaming library to the console more, but instead I have continued to lean into my Steam library, which makes sense because it is the biggest library of games that I have. So I hope this video could be helpful for you or anybody out there. This is just my personal experience with the console based on the games that I play and the consoles I have outside of the Switch 2. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel for more cozy game content. And hopefully, I'll see you in my next YouTube video. Bye!